Hey viewers, George here, and we're talking about episode 2 of Sonic Boom, the television series. Episode 2 is called, Can an Evil Villain Crash on Your Can an Evil Genius Crash on Your Couch? This episode, it's an interesting setup, really. I kind of wish there was a bit more, I think it could have explored a bit more of it than just, like, there were some really good moments I was like, okay, that's funny. But then there were some where it's like, I'm kind of seeing that as almost a pattern, because, like, the first episode, there was definitely, like, that one joke where it was like, ugh. Actually, the bad joke in this one, it's Amy again, but only kind of. It's not as bad as the other one. So, in this episode, Eggman's fortress was destroyed in a storm, and he needs a place to crash for a while it's being rebuilt. So he stays with Sonic and Tails for a few days, and he's generally becomes like the worst roommate, which apparently consists of constantly wanting to pillow fight, like immensely. You know, pillow fights are cool and all, but I mean, this guy takes it to the next level where it's like every moment that they show of him being the worst roommate, he's basically pillow fighting. And then, after, Sonic's like, okay, this isn't working out, I'm gonna have to kick you out. He's like, oh, I'll change. So then he starts washing dishes and, cleaning the place up and whatnot. Being a decent roommate. And, God, one of the funnier moments is like when he's sleeping, his snoring is basically like his evil laugh, and I'm just like, that's an interesting way to put it. That's good. So it turns out that the fortress was not actually destroyed, and Eggman's evil plan was to tire Sonic and Tails out, which he does by keeping them up all night, which I don't really know how it tires someone out immensely, if it's just one night sort of thing. Kind of. I mean, I've gone an entire day with maybe 2 hours of sleep, if that, and been perfectly fine. But, I guess Sonic and Tails are not quite like that. So, each person's their own, I guess. Anyways, Eggman's line, and he reveals that he has a Destructo robot thing. I think he calls it like the Obliterator or some other rather obvious name like that. And he builds it to destroy Sonic and Tails since they're sleep deprived. But I guess the machine is not quite, fixed, and it has some bugs, and it goes to actually destroy the island fortress. So Eggman is like, can you guys actually, defeat the robot, or else I'm going to be stuck living with you guys for a few days until the fortress is actually rebuilt. So, Eggman helps the sleep-deprived duo defeat the robot, and, everything's more or less fine. And that's the episode. I'm really shocked just how not bad this show is. Like, I'm like actually interested in watching it, and yeah, the setups are actually interesting too. I mean, like, an evil villain or the arch nemesis, crashing at the hero's place for a bit. Shenanigans ensues. It's, a great idea. I don't know if she's actually done it either. I can't remember. Can't say I've seen a lot of them do it before, but, it works. There were some good jokes in there. There were, of course, ones that, miss, but that tends to be the thing with comedy a lot of times. Not every joke's gonna nail it, not every show can be Gravity Falls, but it has its hits and misses, but generally it's not a bad show. I can't say I have a whole lot to actually complain about, because if a joke fails, then the joke failed. It happens. I've done tons of jokes where it's just crashed and burned multiple times. But, that's just the nature of comedy. It's, you don't know what's going to work until you test it out. So, I can't blame it, and once again, not a single fart joke or belching joke or anything like that. And it's better than Pac-Man. So Disney, Cartoon Network, and Sega knows what they're doing with their show. you know, okay, so I've said multiple times in the vlogs for the Pac-Man cartoon that the show could be good, but it has a lot of fixing to do, and the writing needs to improve. But obviously that's hasn't been the case. And I mean, this is a pretty good example of an improvement over something really bad. Everyone is well aware, is universally, well, I want to say it's universally accepted, but it certainly isn't, that Sonic Boom, the games on the 3DS and the Wii U, aren't exactly that great. And even the writing is very terrible, and like the gameplay is obviously shit. But they've taken that crap fest and actually produced a half decent show from it. So I'm just saying there's definitely promise here, and Sonic Boom's definitely a good example of how you can take a video game franchise and actually make a half decent cartoon out of it. Not every show is going to end up being like Pac-Man or Mega Man or Super Mario Brothers or Yoshi's World or whatever it was, or Master fucking N, or Captain N, or Legend of Zelda. God, there's a lot of really bad cartoons out there based on games. Donkey Kong Country. Ugh. Anyways, Sonic Boom, episode 2, not that bad, and I'm still really liking the 11-minute formula to the show because it keeps things going at a quicker pace. There's not a lot of slowed down moments, which is really good. And I so far it seems that Sonic, Tails, and Eggman are the main focus of each episode, and then Knuckles, Amy, and Styx, who is the new characters of the Sonic Boom series, tend to take a bit of a supporting role. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple episodes coming up where it focuses on them, because that just tends to be the nature of these kind of shows where the sub characters at least get one episode for them. So I'm not looking forward to the one with Amy, because Amy really hasn't been that enjoyable. I don't want to say enjoyable, because I mean, Amy as a character, at least in this one, isn't extraordinarily obsessed with Sonic. Like, Sonic, I love you, we're gonna be around you all the time. She doesn't do that, which is good. She kind of defines herself, like she's at least able to stand on her own, and she's not like head over heels for Sonic. There is of course that implication there, especially in the first episode, but it's not like what we've seen in every other time with Amy. But even still, like her lines and her jokes just don't always hit. I mean, in this episode she wasn't that bad. She definitely didn't say the worst jokes, but Styx is another one. Gosh, she has a really raspy voice. There was another funny line, because I guess Tails had been hit by pillows significantly hard, because I guess Eggman's really hard with hitting people with pillows, so much that he has short-term memory, and he's like, "Oh, it hurts so much. I get short-term memory. Like, oh, that's funny. Expected, but I mean, it happens so quickly that it works, really. So, that is definitely a good thing. And, shows like this, Gravity Falls, Adventure Time, regular show, and there's certainly a whole bunch of other ones I have yet to actually watch, but I've heard they're really good, like Steve Universe and Over the Garden Wall. They're definitely showing that there's still a good pool of kids shows out there, and not every show is really stupid or lazily written or live action. which that seems to be a huge thing that's plaguing a lot of children programming as the live action shows, and those end up being really bad because they're like really bad sitcoms that are written for people who attention spans are so small, or something like that. Like, you obviously know what I'm talking about when I'm saying, fucking Sweet Cody Life or whatever it was, or whatever kid shows are on right now. God, some of them are really dumb. Ugh. So, I don't know where that little rant went, but it ends with the Sonic Boom not being too bad. So far, 2 episodes in, I'm happy. I was totally going in expecting this to be really bad, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Always am. So that's good. Yeah, so with that all said and done, until next time, keep on gaming.